The necklace began to glow in homeroom. Amara Okafor, 16 years old, sat frozen as every eye turned toward her chest. The Seoul International Academy had never seen anything like this. The ancient beads pulsed with golden light, responding to something or someone in that classroom. What happened next would unite two worlds and reveal a destiny written in stars. Amara Okafor pressed her palm against the airplane window, watching Seoul's glittering skyline emerge through morning fog. 16 years old, dark skin gleaming with nervous sweat, she clutched the necklace at her throat, the only piece of home she carried across continents. Please let them like me, she thought. Please let me belong. Her father's posting to South Korea had been sudden. 3 weeks ago, she'd been in Lagos, surrounded by cousins and laughter, and the smell of jollof rice wafting through their compound. Now she wore a borrowed uniform, her hair braided in intricate cornrows her mother had spent hours creating, her backpack stuffed with textbooks she'd already read twice out of anxiety. The necklace was her grandmother's final gift before passing. 7 cowrie shells, amber beads, and a central carved figure. Ocean, goddess of rivers and destiny. This has protected our family for 7 generations, grandmother had whispered on her deathbed. When you need guidance most, it will show you the way. Amara touched it constantly. A nervous habit. Prayer. Seoul International Academy rose before the taxi like a glass fortress. Students in pristine uniforms clustered in groups, speaking Korean, English, Mandarin. Amara counted 3 other black students in the crowd of hundreds. Her stomach twisted. She paid the driver with 1 notes her father had carefully labeled, then stood on the sidewalk, backpack heavy, heart heavier. Just one day, she told herself. Survive one day. Scene 2. Antagonist introduction. Minji Park arrived at school in her mother's Mercedes, a senior with followers like satellites. 17, stunning in the calculated way of Seoul's elite, she stepped from the car as if cameras followed her everywhere. Perhaps they did. Her Instagram had 200,000 followers. Her uniform was tailored, not borrowed. Her skin was glass smooth, maintained by weekly facials her mother scheduled between board meetings. Her life was choreographed perfection. Piano at 4, ballet at 6, cram school until midnight, repeat. But perfection required contrast. Minji needed people beneath her to prove she stood above. Did you see the new girl? Her friend Suyun whispered as they walked through the gates. She's from Africa. Minji's perfectly shaped eyebrows rose. Africa? Like actually Africa? Nigeria. Her father works at the embassy or something. Minji's mind calculated instantly. Foreign. Different. Vulnerable. The social order required maintenance, and new students needed to understand their place, especially ones who might attract attention for being exotic. She'd learned this from her mother, who'd clawed her way from Busan poverty to Seoul's executive suites by knowing exactly where everyone belonged. Minji had inherited that instinct, sharpened it, weaponized it. Interesting, she said, her voice sugar over steel. Let's make sure she feels welcome. Her friends giggled. They always did. Scene 3. The inciting incident. Homeroom 3B buzzed with pre-class chaos. Amara found her assigned seat, back row, corner, blessedly anonymous, and arranged her supplies with meticulous care. Don't draw attention. Don't make mistakes. Don't give them reasons. She was writing her name on a notebook when she felt eyes on her. Minji stood in the doorway, flanked by 4 girls who might as well have been her shadows. They moved as a unit, heads tilted in synchronized curiosity, all staring at Amara's chest. Not her face. Her necklace. Oh my God, one of them said in English. Is that real? Amara's hand flew to the cowrie shells. It's my grandmother's. It's so ethnic, another girl said, the word carrying weight it shouldn't. Minji glided closer, her expensive perfume arriving before she did. She leaned down, studying the necklace with the intensity of someone examining insects. Is this what people wear in Nigeria? Like traditionally? The question sounded innocent. It wasn't. It's a family heirloom, Amara said quietly, her Nigerian accent suddenly feeling thick in her mouth. It's very important too. It's very rustic, Minji interrupted, straightening. Her followers giggled on cue. I mean, it's great that you're proud of your culture. We're very international here. Very accepting. The words said acceptance. The tone said toleration. We have dress codes, though, Minji continued, her voice projecting now. Other students were listening. Principal Kim is strict about accessories. You might want to take that off. It's kind of distracting. Amara's fingers tightened around the shells. It doesn't come off. It's spiritual. For protection. Protection. Minji's laugh was wind chimes made of ice. From what? Before Amara could answer, the homeroom teacher entered. Mr. Cho, young and overwhelmed, barely glanced up from his tablet. Seats, everyone. We have a new student today. Amara Okafor from Nigeria. Please make her feel welcome. Scattered applause. Minji returned to her seat in the front row, surrounded by admirers. Amara breathed. But then it happened. As Mr. Cho began taking attendance, Amara felt warmth spreading across her chest. She looked down. The necklace was glowing. Soft at first, then brighter, pulsing with golden light that seemed to have its own heartbeat. The classroom fell silent. Every head turned. 28 pairs of eyes locked on the impossible sight of ancient beads radiating light like captured sunlight, the carved Ashen figure blazing as if lit from within. Amara grabbed it, trying to hide the glow, but light spilled between her fingers. What the? Someone whispered in Korean. Mr. Cho stood frozen, chalk in hand, mouth open. Minji's face had gone pale, her eyes wide with something Amara had never expected to see there, fear. The glow intensified, filled the room with warm amber radiance, then, as suddenly as it began, vanished. The necklace became simple beads and shells again. Inert. Ancient. Ordinary. But the silence remained. Scene 4. Secret observer introduced Dr. Ji-won Kong sat in her office on the third floor, reviewing grant proposals for her anthropology research, when her assistant burst through the door. Professor, you need to see this. The video was already spreading through student group chats. Shaky footage, but clear enough. A black girl in homeroom 3B. A necklace glowing like something from a fantasy film. Confusion and wonder on young faces. Ji-won's hands trembled as she paused the video, zooming in on the necklace. 7 cowrie shells. Amber beads. Central figure carved in ancient style. She'd spent 15 years studying West African spiritual artifacts. Her doctoral thesis had focused on Yoruba religious objects. She'd held necklaces like this in Lagos museums, had interviewed priestesses who wore them in ceremonies. But she'd never seen one glow. Who is this student? Ji-won asked, her voice barely steady. Transfer student. Amara Okafor. Started today. Nigerian. Ji-won closed the video, her mind racing. Rational explanations first. LED lights, phosphorescent paint, a prank. But she'd seen the girl's face. That wasn't the expression of someone executing a trick. That was genuine shock. She thought of her own grandmother, who'd believed in things science couldn't explain, who'd told stories of objects that carried ancestral power, that responded to spiritual crises, that chose their wearers. Superstition, Ji-won's professors had called it. Metaphor, her thesis committee had insisted. But what if they'd been wrong? Dr. Kong pulled up the student directory, found Amara's schedule. She had anthropology class. Tomorrow. Second period. Cancel my morning meetings, Ji-won said. All of them. Her assistant hesitated. Professor, the dean wanted to discuss. Cancel them. Ji-won was already pulling books from her shelf. Texts on Yoruba spirituality, Ifa divination, sacred objects. Something important is happening. Something that might change everything we think we know. But Amara Okafor had no idea her life was about to transform. She only knew that by lunchtime, every student in Seoul International Academy was staring at her, and the necklace that had protected her family for generations had just made her the most famous and most frightened girl in school. ACT 2. Rising Action Scene 5. Aftermath and daily struggle. Amara spent lunch in the library bathroom, crying silently into her hands. The video had spread beyond the school. By third period, students from other academies were commenting, sharing, theorizing. Hashtag glowing girl SIA trended locally. Some called it magic. Others called it fraud. Everyone had an opinion about something they hadn't witnessed. But they all knew her face now. She texted her father. "Can I please come home?" His response came during fourth period. "Sweetie, your mother and I have meetings all day. Embassy dinner tonight. Can we talk at breakfast? First days are always hard. Love you." He didn't know. Didn't understand. She was alone. After school, she walked home rather than face the subway crowds. The apartment her family had rented was in Itaewon, 40 minutes on foot. Her legs ached. Her eyes burned from crying. The necklace sat heavy and silent against her chest. "Why?" she whispered to it. "Why did you do that?" It offered no answers. At home their apartment felt hollow. Her parents wouldn't return until late. Her younger brother was at his elementary school program. She heated instant noodles, ate without tasting, then collapsed on her bed. Her phone buzzed constantly. Messages from Nigerian friends who'd seen the video. "Girl, what happened? Is that real? Are you okay?" She turned it off. In the silence she heard her grandmother's voice. "When you need guidance most, it will show you the way." "I don't understand," Amara said to the empty room. "What way? To what?" The necklace remained quiet, keeping whatever secrets it held locked in carved wood and ancient shells. Scene 6. First anonymous gift 2 days later. Amara found the package in her locker. Small, wrapped in plain brown paper. Her name written in careful English on top. No return address. No indication of the sender. Inside a book. Yoruba Sacred Arts by Dr. Ji-won Kong. Published by Seoul National University Press. Printed in both English and Korean. Filled with photographs of artifacts, ceremonies, priestesses in ritual dress. A bookmark marked page 73. Amara opened to it. The photograph showed a necklace nearly identical to hers. Same cowrie shells, same amber beads, same carved figure. The caption read, "Ashen divination necklace, circa 1820, traditionally worn by priestesses to commune with the Orisha, believed to respond to spiritual presence or destiny moments." Someone had underlined the final sentence in pencil. In the margin, neat handwriting. "You're not alone. Some of us understand." Amara's hand shook as she clutched the book. Someone in this school knew what her necklace was. Someone believed it was real. A folded note fell from the book's back pages. The necklace glowed because it sensed something important. "Don't be afraid of what you carry. Your grandmother chose you for a reason. You have more allies than you think." A friend tears blurred her vision. For the first time since the incident, she felt something other than shame. Hope, fragile as morning light, flickered in her chest. Scene 7. Observer's investigation. Dr. Ji-won Kong had spent 2 nights researching Amara Okafor's background. Not stalking, investigating. There was a difference. As the school's anthropology professor, she had legitimate interest in a student displaying what might be authentic spiritual phenomenon. Also, she couldn't stop thinking about it. The school records told one story. Amara was brilliant. Straight A's in Lagos, test scores in the 98th percentile, fluent in English and Yoruba with functional French. Her father worked in cultural liaison at the Nigerian embassy. Her mother taught literature at an international school. Stable family, educated, middle class by Nigerian standards. But the video told another story. A girl terrified by her own heritage, isolated in a foreign country, carrying something powerful she didn't fully understand. Ji-won had been that girl once. Different country, different circumstances, but the same terror of being too different, too much, too foreign. She'd grown up in a rural village where her grandmother practiced traditional shamanic rituals. At 15, when Ji-won moved to Seoul for school, she'd hidden that part of herself. Pretended her family was modern, secular, unremarkable. She'd buried her grandmother's teachings under layers of academic rationalism. Now at 35, with a doctorate and tenure, she sometimes wondered what she'd lost in that burial. Watching Amara's face in the video, the shock, the shame, the desperate desire to disappear. Ji-won saw her teenage self reflected back. Not this time, she decided. This girl won't have to hide. She opened her laptop, Drafted an email to Amara's homeroom teacher. I'd like to offer mentorship to your new transfer student. My research specialty aligns with her cultural background. I think I could help her adjust. Professional. Appropriate. Concealing the real truth. Ji-won needed to understand what had happened in that classroom, and maybe, just maybe, reconnect with the parts of herself she'd abandoned. Scene 8. Antagonist escalates. Minji watched the new girl walk through the hallway, clutching that book like a shield. It infuriated her. The video had gone viral. Entertainment news programs were calling the school, asking for interviews. Social media influencers were debating whether it was special effects or genuine phenomenon. The principal had issued a statement about respecting all cultures. And Amara Okafor, who should have been humiliated into invisibility, was becoming famous. She's getting more followers than you, Suyeon said, watching her phone. Her Instagram gained 20,000 overnight. She'd worked for years to build her following. Carefully curated photos, sponsored posts, partnerships with skincare brands. And this girl shows up with a glowing necklace and becomes famous by accident? It's fake, Minji said coldly. Obviously fake. But how? Nobody can figure out how she did it. The lighting experts say there's no hidden LEDs, no projectors. Then it's editing. CGI. I don't care. It's fraud. But doubt crept in. Minji had been in that classroom. She'd seen the glow with her own eyes, felt the warmth radiating from those beads. She'd felt something else too, a presence vast and ancient, turning its attention toward her. For 3 seconds Minji had felt small, unimportant, seen. She hated that feeling more than anything. We need to expose her, Minji said. Find out how she did it. Prove it's fake. But what if it's not? Suyeon whispered. Minji's glare could have cut glass. Then we make sure she understands that magic doesn't make you special at this school. Status does. Money does. And she has neither. Scene 9. Second and third gifts. The second gift appeared in Amara's locker a week later. A USB drive unmarked with another note. This is footage from the school's server. The original video before anyone edited or shared it. You'll want to keep this safe. Delete your doubts. Trust what you saw. A friend Amara watched the video that night on her laptop, studying her own face. The shock was genuine. The glow was real. She watched it 10 times, 20, until she couldn't deny what her rational mind wanted to dismiss. The necklace had responded to something in that room. Some presence, some power, some recognition. But of what? Of whom? The third gift arrived at her home. Her father handed her the envelope at breakfast, confused. This came for you. No return address. Inside. 2 tickets to the National Museum of Korea's new exhibition on African-Korean cultural exchanges. The note read, "Sometimes we find answers in unexpected places. The exhibition opens Saturday. Section 3 has something you need to see. A friend who's sending you things?" Her father asked, concerned. "I think, a teacher maybe? Someone who understands what happened." Her father's expression softened. He'd seen the video, heard the rumors. "Do you want to talk about the necklace, Amara? About what your grandmother believed?" She'd spent 16 years in a household that balanced tradition and modernity. Her parents honored the old ways without quite believing in them. They wore traditional dress at festivals but didn't consult Ifa priests. They told folktales but called them metaphors. "I think grandmother's necklace is more than we thought," Amara said quietly. I think it's real, Dad." He touched her hand. "Then we'll figure out what that means. Together." But Amara knew this journey was hers alone. Scene 10. Protagonist's small victory. Dr. Kang's anthropology class became Amara's sanctuary. While other teachers treated her with cautious curiosity, the student whose necklace glowed, the girl in the viral video, Dr. Kang treated her like a scholar. She asked questions about Yoruba culture, invited Amara to share perspectives, created space for her voice without exploiting her difference. "Cultural artifacts aren't museum pieces," Dr. Kang said during a lecture on sacred objects. "They're living connections to history and belief. When we reduce them to superstition or spectacle, We lose something essential. Her eyes met Amara's across the classroom. Understanding passed between them. After class, Dr. Kong approached. Amara, I wondered if you'd like to contribute to my research. I'm documenting first-person accounts of spiritual practice in diaspora communities. Your perspective would be valuable. It was an invitation. More than that, an acknowledgement. I don't know much about the spiritual side, Amara admitted. My grandmother believed, but she died before she could teach me. Then maybe we learn together, Dr. Kong said gently. I left my own grandmother's teachings behind. I'm trying to find my way back. Amara felt tears threatening. You sent the gifts. The book. The tickets. Dr. Kong didn't deny it. You needed to know you weren't alone. That what you carry matters. For the first time since arriving in Seoul, Amara smiled genuinely. Thank you. Come to my office tomorrow. Let's talk about what that necklace really is. Scene 11. The sabotage. Minji's plan was elegant in its cruelty. She'd befriended a sophomore who worked in the school's AV department, flirted just enough to get access to equipment. I want to make a tribute video for my friend's birthday, she'd said sweetly. Can I borrow a camera? What she actually did was stage a second glowing necklace incident. Using phosphorescent paint and UV lights, Minji created her own glowing accessory. She filmed herself in the empty classroom after hours, necklace glowing, then edited the footage to look spontaneous. She added laughing soundtrack, her own voice saying, "It's so easy. Just some paint and blacklight. I can't believe everyone fell for it." Then she uploaded it to the school's anonymous gossip forum with the caption, "Proof the magic was fake. Anyone could do it. She played us all." The post exploded overnight. By morning, the narrative had shifted. Students who defended Amara felt foolish. Those who'd been skeptical felt vindicated. The story became, Nigerian girl fakes supernatural event for attention, possibly to leverage fame into influencer deals. Amara saw the post before first period. Watched the fake video. Read the comments. Knew it was too good to be true. She made us all look stupid. Attention seeker. Go back to Africa. That last comment, repeated dozens of times, cut deepest. She found Dr. Kong in her office, shaking with rage and grief. They're saying I faked it. That I lied. Dr. Kong watched Minji's video, her expression hardening. This isn't your necklace. Look, the beads are wrong, the carving is crude. This is a deliberate setup. But how do I prove it? My video looks the same. We'll find a way. Dr. Kang's voice was steel. Whoever did this made a mistake. They underestimated what we're dealing with. Scene 12. Observer steps in. Dr. Kong spent the night analyzing both videos frame by frame. The differences were subtle but present. The color temperature of the glow, the way light interacted with the beads, the shadows cast. Minji's fake used external light sources. Amara's had emanated from within the beads themselves. But proving it required more than visual analysis. It required demonstration. Ji-won opened her locked drawer. Removed an object she'd kept hidden for 15 years. Her grandmother's mudong amulet, a shaman's talisman, blessed in rituals Ji-won had witnessed but never believed in. Until now. Grandmother, she whispered to the empty office, if you were right about everything, I need help. Show me the truth. She placed Amara's photograph next to the amulet. Closed her eyes. Felt foolish, scientific training warring with desperate hope. The amulet warmed in her hand. Ji-won's eyes snapped open. The metal was hot, not painfully but noticeably, as if held near a flame. She set it on the desk. It continued radiating heat, a soft pulse matching a heartbeat. Objects respond to spiritual presence. Her grandmother's words, dismissed for decades, suddenly made perfect sense. She grabbed her phone, texted Amara. Don't respond to the accusations. I have proof. Meet me at the museum tomorrow. Section 3. Bring the necklace. Then she called an old contact from her doctoral research, Dr. Adeyemi in Lagos, a professor at the University of Ibadan who specialized in Ifa priesthood traditions. Ji-won. His voice was warm despite the late hour. It's been years. I need to understand something, she said. Ashan divination necklaces, Can they actually glow? Not metaphorically. Literally. Silence. Then, you've seen it happen. A student of mine. It glowed in response to something. Dr. Adeyemi's voice grew serious. The necklaces respond to destiny moments. When the wearer encounters someone or something that will change their path. It's rare. Most modern necklaces have lost their charge. The rituals aren't performed correctly. The lineage is broken. But authentic ones, blessed by true priestesses, maintain through generations. He paused. They remember their purpose. And that purpose is? To guide. To protect. To reveal what must be seen. Jiwon felt the world shifting beneath her feet. Everything she'd studied academically was proving itself real in ways her professors had never imagined. If the necklace glowed, Dr. Adeyemi continued, then your student is meant to find something. Or someone. The question is, what was in that room when it happened? Jiwon thought back to the video, to the faces of everyone present, and realized she knew exactly who the necklace had responded to. Scene 13. Vindication. The museum exhibition was smaller than Amara expected. Section 3 was devoted to spiritual artifacts, masks, staffs, divination tools from both Korean and West African traditions. Dear Kong waited beside a display case, her expression electric with discovery. Look, she said, pointing. The case held two objects, a Korean mudong amulet and a Yoruba divination necklace, nearly identical to Amara's. The placard read, "Sacred objects from shamanic traditions, both cultures believing certain items could channel spiritual energy and respond to supernatural presence." They're the same, Amara whispered. Different cultures, different continents, but the same belief. Because it's not belief, Dr. Kong said quietly. It's truth. She pulled out her grandmother's amulet, set it near Amara's necklace. Both began to glow, soft, pulsing, warm light that seemed to recognize itself. Amara gasped. How? I think I've been asking the wrong questions, Dr. Kong said. Not is it real, but what is it trying to tell us? Your necklace glowed in homeroom. I was in my office one floor above. My grandmother's amulet heated up at the same moment. I found the timestamp on security footage. The objects recognized each other. But why? Dr. Kong met her eyes. Because I'm supposed to help you. Our paths were meant to cross. You carry your grandmother's legacy, and I've been running from mine. The necklace knew before either of us did. Tears streamed down Amara's face. Everyone thinks I'm a fraud. Not everyone. Dr. Kong pulled out her laptop, showed Amara the frame-by-frame analysis. This is proof. Real versus fake. We'll present it to the principal. Demand an investigation into who created the false video. Minji, Amara said. It was Minji Park. I know it was. Then we prove it. By the end of the day, the evidence was irrefutable. The school's IT department traced the fake video's upload to a sophomore who, under gentle questioning, admitted Minji had borrowed AV equipment and asked him to keep it secret. Minji was called to the principal's office. Amara and Dr. Kong presented their analysis. The differences were clear even to non-experts. Principal Kim's face was grave. Mississippi Park, this is a serious accusation. Did you create and upload this video with intent to defame another student? Minji's perfect composure cracked. She doesn't belong here. She's getting attention she doesn't deserve. I've worked for everything. She just shows up with some weird necklace and everyone treats her like she's special. The truth, raw and ugly, hung in the air. You're suspended, Principal Kim said. 2 weeks. Your parents will be notified. And Mississippi Park. His voice softened slightly. I suggest you spend that time considering why another student's success feels like your failure. Minji left in tears, her followers watching in silent shock. Amara felt no triumph. Only sadness for a girl so desperate for validation she tried to destroy someone else. Dr. Kong touched her shoulder. You okay? I feel sorry for her, Amara admitted. That's because you're stronger than she'll ever be. Real strength doesn't need to tear others down. ACT 3. Climax and Resolution. Scene 14. Big reveal setup. Dr. Kong worked for 3 weeks on the proposal. International Conference on Living Spiritual Traditions. The invitation read, Seoul National University invites scholars, practitioners, and students to explore authentic spiritual practice in modern contexts. Keynote presentation, When Sacred Objects Speak, a case study, by Dr. Jiwon Kong and Amara Okafor. Amara stared at her name in print. I'm not a scholar. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, Dr. Kong assured her. Just wear the necklace. Share your grandmother's story. Let people see what's real. The conference would be held at the university's Grand Auditorium. Academics from 12 countries were registered. The event had drawn attention from cultural organizations, museums, even religious leaders curious about this alleged proof of spiritual phenomenon. But Amara was terrified. What if the necklace doesn't glow? What if it only worked once and now everyone thinks we're lying? Dr. Kong smiled. Then we present the research anyway. But Amara? I don't think it was a one-time event. I think your journey is just beginning. 3 days before the conference, a package arrived at Amara's home. Inside, a traditional Nigerian outfit, deep indigo with gold threading, clearly expensive, clearly tailored to her measurements. The note read, Wear your heritage with pride. You represent something bigger than you know. A friend, but this time, Amara recognized the handwriting. Dr. Kang's elegant script disguised before, obvious now in its care. She called her mentor, voice thick with emotion. You've been helping me from the beginning. The book. The tickets. Now this. You reminded me who I was, Dr. Kong said simply. Before I buried my grandmother's teachings. Before I decided science and spirituality couldn't coexist. You gave me permission to believe again. I was so scared. And you survived that fear. That's the real magic, Amara. Not the glowing necklace. You. Scene 15. The event. The auditorium held 300 people. Every seat filled. Amara stood backstage in her indigo dress, necklace gleaming against the fabric. Dr. Kong wore traditional Korean hanbok, white with blue trim, her grandmother's amulet visible at her throat. 2 women, 2 cultures, 1 truth, Dr. Kong whispered. Ready? Amara nodded, though her hands trembled. They walked on stage to polite applause. The projection screen showed photographs. Amara's necklace, Dr. Kang's amulet, the museum display, the frame-by-frame analysis proving authenticity. Dr. Kong spoke first, her voice steady and academic. She explained her research, the cross-cultural similarities, the historical documentation of responsive sacred objects. She presented testimonies from practitioners, priests and shamans and priestesses who'd witnessed similar events. Then she introduced Amara. My grandmother gave me this necklace, Amara said softly, gripping the podium. She said it would guide me when I needed it most. I didn't understand. I thought it was just jewelry, just tradition. Her voice grew stronger. But when I came to Seoul, when I felt most alone and afraid, it showed me I wasn't. It connected me to Dr. Kong, who was also searching for something she'd lost. It proved that some truths survive even when we stop believing in them. In the front row, she saw her parents, tears in their eyes. In the third row, she saw students from Seoul International Academy, including Minji, who'd returned from suspension quieter, smaller, watching with complicated expression. I don't know why the necklace chose that moment, Amara continued, but I know what it gave me. Courage to be different, strength to trust my heritage, and a mentor who became family. Maybe that's what sacred objects do. Not magic tricks, but connections. Bridges between past and future, between cultures, between people who need each other. She stepped back. Dr. Kong joined her. And the necklace began to glow. Soft at first, then brilliant, filling the stage with amber light. Dr. Kang's amulet responded, pulsing in harmony. The 2 objects sang to each other in light and warmth, proving to 300 witnesses that some phenomena transcend scientific explanation. The audience erupted. Not just applause, awe. Amara looked at Dr. Kong. Both of them bathed in sacred light and understood. This moment wasn't about proof. It was about permission. Permission to believe in more than what can be measured. Permission to honor traditions, academia dismissed. Permission to be whole. Scene 16. Identity reveal after the presentation. In Dr. Kang's office, they finally talked without audience or agenda. I need to tell you something, Dr. Kang said. About why I helped you. Amara settled into the chair, exhausted but peaceful. You said I reminded you of your grandmother's teachings. It's more than that. Dr. Kang's hands twisted in her lap. I had a younger sister. Yin. She was brilliant, so bright, so curious about everything. My grandmother adored her, started teaching her the old rituals, the shamanic practices our family had maintained for generations. Her voice cracked. When June was 15, same age as you when you got the necklace, she got sick. Leukemia. The doctors gave her 6 months. Amara's breath caught. My grandmother wanted to perform healing rituals, traditional ceremonies. My parents refused, they wanted only modern medicine. I was in medical school studying to be a doctor. I told my grandmother her rituals were superstition. That science would save Jiun. Dr. Kang wiped tears. But it didn't. She died 3 months later. And my grandmother's last words to me were, you trusted everything except what mattered. I'm so sorry, Amara whispered. I've spent 20 years trying to reconcile those two worlds. Science and spirit. Proof and faith. When I saw your video, when I saw that necklace glow, I saw Jiun. I saw the chance to honor what I'd dismissed. Dr. Kang met Amara's eyes. You gave me permission to believe again. To honor my grandmother's memory by admitting she was right. There are truths that exist beyond what we can measure. Amara crossed the room, hugged her mentor fiercely. Your sister would be proud of you. I think she sent you to me, Dr. Kang said. I think the necklace glowed because I needed to see it. Not just you, me. We healed each other. They stayed like that, two women from different worlds, connected by light and loss and the stubborn refusal of sacred things to die. Scene 17. Antagonist downfall. Minji returned to school after suspension to find her carefully constructed empire crumbled. Her followers had drifted away during her absence. The video of her creating the fake necklace had leaked. Someone posted it with the caption, "This is what insecurity looks like." Her Instagram lost 50,000 followers in a week. But worse than the social consequences was the silence. Nobody was angry. Nobody cared enough to be angry. She'd become invisible, the fate she'd tried to inflict on Amara. She saw Amara in the hallway one morning surrounded by friends, genuine ones, not followers, laughing about something, her necklace resting peaceful against her uniform. Minji approached before she lost courage. Can I talk to you? Amara's friends bristled protectively. But Amara nodded, stepped aside. I'm sorry, Minji said. The words felt foreign in her mouth. I was cruel. I was scared. Of what? Of being nothing. Minji's voice was small. My whole life I've been chasing perfect. Perfect grades, perfect body, perfect image. And you just existed. Different. Confident. You didn't care about my approval. And that terrified me because if you didn't need my validation, maybe it was worthless. Amara studied her. It's not worthless. You just gave it to people who didn't deserve it. I don't know how to be anyone else. Then figure it out, Amara said, not unkindly. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be real. Minji nodded, knowing the journey from perfect to real would be longer and harder than anything she'd attempted before. She walked away, smaller but perhaps finally honest. Scene 18. Transformation. 6 months later, Amara stood in Seoul National University's Cultural Heritage Center. No longer a frightened transfer student, but a confident young woman with purpose. Dr. Kang had offered her a position as student researcher, helping document spiritual practices in Seoul's diaspora communities. Nigerian, Filipino, Vietnamese, immigrants who carried sacred traditions across oceans, who negotiated faith in modern cities. You're a natural ethnographer, Dr. Kang said, reviewing Amara's latest interview transcripts. Have you thought about studying anthropology in university? I want to be a bridge, Amara said. Like you. Like the necklace. Connecting worlds people think are separate. Her relationship with her parents had deepened. They'd started attending Yoruba cultural events in Seoul, reconnecting with traditions they'd let fade. Her father had contacted her grandmother's sister in Lagos, learning rituals and stories he'd never bothered asking about before. "We took our heritage for granted," he admitted. "You reminded us what we almost lost." Seoul International Academy had created a cultural heritage club, with Amara as founding president. 50 students from 20 countries met weekly, sharing traditions, challenging each other's assumptions. Minji attended sometimes, quiet in the back, listening more than speaking. The necklace glowed occasionally still. Once during a conversation with a Korean shaman who'd felt isolated in her practice. Once when Amara met a Japanese student whose grandfather had been a Shinto priest. Each time the light connected people who needed connection, who carried traditions they'd thought were burdens. Dr. Kang's research had been published in 3 journals. Living Spiritual Traditions in Modernity became required reading in several universities. She'd reconnected with shamanic communities in Korea, participating in rituals she'd once dismissed, honoring her grandmother's memory by continuing her work. "We're different people," Dr. Kang said one evening as they catalogued artifacts, "than we were 6 months ago." "Better people," Amara agreed. "More whole." The necklace pulsed warm against Amara's chest, approving. Scene 19 Final emotional beat. They took a trip together that summer to Lagos. Dr. Kang wanted to meet Amara's family, to see the land that had produced such powerful traditions. Amara wanted to introduce her mentor to the aunt who taught her grandmother the necklace's secrets. Aunt Chinyu was 70, a priestess of Ashin, living in a compound outside the city. She took one look at the necklace on Amara's chest and smiled. "It found you," she said simply. "I don't understand what that means," Amara admitted. "Why it glows. What it wants from me." Aunt Chinyu took her hands. "The necklace doesn't want anything. It reveals. It shows you the connections that matter, the people who will shape your path." Did it lie? Amara looked at Dr. Kang, standing respectfully at a distance, and felt her heart overflow with gratitude. "No. It showed me exactly who I needed. Then trust it. Trust yourself." They performed a ceremony together. Aunt Chinyu, Amara, Dr. Kang. Offerings to Ashin, prayers in Yoruba and Korean, songs that transcended language. The necklace glowed throughout, steady and warm. Afterward, sitting by the river, Amara asked, "Will it always glow? Or will it stop once I've learned what I needed? Does it matter?" Aunt Chinyu replied, "You've already changed. The light was just permission to become who you were always meant to be." Dr. Kang added, "In Korean shamanism, we believe objects hold Han, the emotions and energy of their history. Your necklace holds 7 generations of strength. That's not magic. That's legacy." "What's the difference?" Amara asked, smiling. "There isn't one," both women said together, then laughed. The river flowed past, timeless and patient. Somewhere in Seoul, other students struggled with identity. Somewhere in Lagos, other girls received necklaces from dying grandmothers. Somewhere in the world, sacred objects waited to bridge the gap between doubt and faith. But here now 3 women sat in understanding, connected across cultures and generations by the stubborn insistence of belief. Scene 20. Closing and moral. Amara Okafor returned to Seoul wearing her necklace openly, proudly. No longer the frightened transfer student who'd hidden in bathroom stalls. No longer the viral sensation who'd been accused of fraud. She was something else now, something both ancient and modern. She was a bridge. The necklace glowed less frequently as months passed, but when it did, Amara understood. Someone nearby needed connection. Someone was carrying weight they thought they bore alone. Someone needed permission to believe in more than what they could see. Dr. Jiwon Kang left academia briefly to study with her grandmother's former students, learning rituals she'd once dismissed. When she returned to teaching, her courses balanced scientific rigor with spiritual openness. Anthropology studies humanity, she told her students. All of it, including the parts that make rationalists uncomfortable. Minji Park took a gap year before university, volunteering at a cultural center in Itaewon. She was quieter now, humbler, still finding her way toward authenticity. She'd never fully regain what she'd lost, But she was building something better. A self not dependent on others' admiration. The story spread beyond Seoul. The video, the conference presentation, the published research. It became a case study in cultural psychology, a touchstone in debates about faith and modernity, a symbol for diaspora communities navigating identity in foreign lands. But for Amara it remained personal. A necklace. A grandmother's gift. A reminder that she carried generations of strength in cowrie shells and amber beads. She wore it to university interviews, to cultural festivals, to ceremonies and conferences. She wore it when she doubted herself, when she felt alone, when she needed to remember who she was. And sometimes late at night she held it and whispered, "Thank you, grandmother, for knowing I'd need this, for trusting me with our family's light." The necklace would pulse warm in response, a heartbeat matching her own. Amara Okafor was no longer just a Nigerian girl in a Korean school. She was a keeper of traditions, a bridge between worlds, a living testament to the truth that some gifts transcend borders. That heritage is not a burden but a foundation. That the cure for loneliness is not assimilation but authenticity. And her story became a beacon of hope for immigrant children everywhere. A reminder that sometimes the strength we need does not come from fitting in, but from standing out. That our differences are not obstacles to overcome, but gifts to share. That sacred things survive because people like Amara, and Dr. Kong and everyone who chooses to believe keep them alive. The necklace glowed one final time in our story, lighting the path forward. Not with answers but with questions worth asking. What heritage have you buried? What light have you dimmed to fit in? What sacred parts of yourself are waiting for permission to shine? And in the glow of those questions, transformation begins.